breaking news. Tuesday is Election Day, and I know every time we always say it's the most important election of our lives, but I think this one kind of fits the bill. And I want to remind you all to please make a note of the fact that starting Tuesday at 7 o'clock, CBS News and WBZ TV Channel 4 will have complete national election coverage from CBS News, local cut-ins, live shots from New Hampshire and New York, my analysis, the whole 9 yards. But also, starting at 9 o'clock, go to cbsboston.com or Facebook, the WBZ Facebook page, for continuous live local coverage with guest analysts, including our guest this morning, my partner in crime from our sister station, WBZ NewsRadio 1030, the voice of mornings, Joe Mathieu.
You ready for this?
I am ready.
It's time to go.
I am ready for the decision, aren't you?
The rest of America, I think so.
Everyone's had enough. No need for another year of this.
God, although I am somewhat worried about what we'll be talking about Wednesday morning, but we'll get there.
Well, we'll get there,
yes.
And our country is strong, and we'll survive whatever the outcome might be.
You better believe it.
So I guess, given all the signs of a tightening race here, I guess the Clinton campaign no longer needs to worry about complacency, right?
Well, we're about to find out, and boy, there are a lot of questions about how close this race really is when we see the average of polling, national polls, which don't tell us a lot right now, but it's hard to ignore them, within a couple of percentage points. When you look at the electoral math, though, it does look like a much heavier lift for Donald Trump to get to 270. And I think we're going to learn a lot in the early outset of the night on Tuesday with those East Coast states, John.
Well, I was going to ask you about sort of key things you'll be watching for on election night.
Starts with Florida, right? As I'm sure you're going to be watching, and we'll be doing this together. North Carolina, Florida, New Hampshire, in our backyard, all closing in the East Coast time zone. That will be kind of a leading indicator on what the rest of the night may bring. If Trump loses Florida, boy, I don't know how he wins the whole thing.
You know, one of the things that's been a constant theme throughout this has been the backlash of the working class, particularly in the manufacturing sector, against global trade.
Yeah.
And this clearly was rocket fuel for the Trump campaign, because he elevated that to a front and center issue, as did Bernie Sanders on the Democrat. You saw Hillary Clinton change her position on the Trans-Pacific Partnership deal. And yet, I'm reading the other day that in 4 key Midwestern industrial states, this is Michigan, Indiana, Wisconsin, and there was one other. The polling shows that people support global trade, not by a huge margin, but significant pluralities of the electorate actually support trade because it makes goods cheaper to buy, and it's seen as inevitable and kind of the wave of the future. What do you make of all this?
Boy, there isn't a lot of truth being told about global trade. These are very difficult deals to unwind, as Donald Trump has promised to renegotiate them. But I think you put your finger on something. If we brought all the jobs back, for instance, from China and Mexico, as Donald Trump has suggested, your trip to Walmart's going to look really different, and things are going to cost many multiples more than they do now. We're hooked on low prices in this country, but in many cases, those low prices are because we sent them overseas.
Is it fair to say, we've got to take a break, but is it fair to say that from both parties, there's been a lot of rhetoric and hot air on crucial issues like this, that no matter who wins, a lot of people are going to be sitting there very disappointed a year from today.
Oh my gosh.
Do you think that's fair to say?
Absolutely, this is true. There have been so many untruths in this campaign, I don't know where to begin, but we'll try when we come back.
I don't know if we'll have enough time, but we'll try. All right, more with Joe Mathieu of WBZ NewsRadio 1030 when we continue in just a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome back. With just a couple of days to go before Election Day, we're talking politics and the election with Joe Mathieu of WBZ NewsRadio 1030, who'll be with us all throughout the night on cbsboston.com and Facebook on Election Night. Make sure to tune in 7 o'clock on WBZ, 9 o'clock on the web for our complete local and national coverage. So speaking of the local situation, the real focus here, other than the New Hampshire Senate race, has been the ballot questions in Massachusetts. And Governor Charlie Baker certainly has put himself out there as the face of the question to lift the cap on charter schools, and no on for against legalization of recreational marijuana possession and use. Is that risky for Baker, Joe?
Well, by gosh, I guess it's consistent with his politics. So maybe not so much. I think he has really put himself out there aggressively on two. I think that is really where he's dropped his chips on this. On question 4, I talked to the governor last week about that, and he acknowledged the fact that there are, in fact, not only a lot of arguments, but a lot of confusion when you consider both sides. I think voters are having a really hard time with some of these because they hear wildly different versions of these issues from the pro and the con, and they don't know who to believe. But that's where the media comes in. You try to set the record straight on this. There are so many vested interests, though, and so much out-of-state money that finding the truth's been really hard.
Well, is it really that hard? I mean, yes, these questions can be complicated at times.
Sure.
But I have found, and we've done a lot of issue-oriented coverage on WBZ, as I know you have too on WBZ Radio, and I have found that a wealth of information, media coverage of issues that really digs down, and, you know, research, studies, a wealth of information is just a click away. When I hear people railing about, well, the media is terrible and I don't know what to do, I'm thinking to myself, how much time have you actually sunk into doing your homework?
Close to none, if any. Yes, you're right. The answers are out there, but you can't be lazy. And if you tune into your favorite network because they agree with everything you're saying, you're not going to find the truth that way either.
Yeah, I mean, no question, we have plenty of things we have to clean up about our act, speaking about the media generally, but I just think that's become the easiest default scapegoating trope of the year.
They do this because it works. Right. But what are the media? I don't even know. We're not even talking about the news media. Donald Trump is lumping Saturday Night Live into the media conspiracy in this election. So, gosh, I guess if you're on TV, you're part of the problem.
It just reminded me, no more Alec Baldwin after Tuesday. Oh, actually, unless Trump wins. And then maybe that's a permanent gig.
4 years of Baldwin.
Thanks, Joe.
See you election night.
See you election night.
Yes,
Looking forward to it.
Thanks, John.
And we hope to see you as well on election night. You know where to go. Hope you'll join us. For now, I'm going to send it back to my colleagues for more WBZ News.